Whoa. All right, guys. If there's anything else that I could ever pray for you, please always let me know. Um, I love to pray over people. It's very interesting. I'll just say, I used to feel like prayer was a private thing. Um, I did not believe that praying out loud made any difference to praying like in my head, right? Making time and making space to actually just really pray, right? And even just praying in your head, like I never understood, like for so much of my life, I never understood that what was said about, there is power in prayer. Like, I believed that to a point, but, like, at the same time, I was like, but, I'm just one person, right? What is my prayer gonna do? But eventually I became more aware, and God really enlightened me. And I tell you what, prayer is such a powerful thing. And I don't ever want any of us to feel like prayer has no power or that it lacks power, because prayer from your heart is just so powerful. And when you allow somebody to pray over you, and when you pray over others, not just for yourself, and you pray with gratitude, right? Even when it feels like you have nothing to be thankful for, pray with gratitude. Pray over things that there are always things to be thankful for. Find those things. Be grateful to God for everything that you have. You have everything that you have. Whether you feel like you don't have a lot or you feel like you have nothing, you still have the air in your lungs. You still have Christ with you, right? There's so much to rejoice over. There's so much to be praised, and so much to be thankful for. And just don't forget that. And I just encourage you to always find something to be thankful for when you're praying. And if you struggle with praying, I just encourage you to make it a daily habit, and eventually that will grow, that will blossom. Okay, I don't need snacks right now, but thank you. Stop bringing me food. Okay, no, stop bringing me food. You can have food. Yes, I said you can have food. Stop bringing me food, please. She keeps bringing me these crunchy chips. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just going to be all up in your ears. And that's not good. Anyway, pray. Pray. Every day, pray. And don't forget to find something to be thankful for in your prayers. And I tell you what, that will change the way that you feel about praying, the way that you believe in praying, the way that you experience prayer. I tell you what, oh my goodness. I'm struggling. I had to get used to sharing my prayers, but I've learned sometimes by sharing with you what I've been praying over. Sometimes I hear exactly what I need to hear, or at least don't feel alone. Exactly. Both of those points. Exactly. Okay. That is such. Thank you for sharing that. For real. For real. For real. Because when you bring it to somebody else, first of all, then you have a prayer buddy, right? Then you have somebody else that is also helping you lift that burden, whatever that burden is, whatever you are experiencing, whatever you're asking God about, whatever you're trying to talk to God about. You, even if it's just one trusted person that you bring it to, right, to help you lift that up. I tell you what, it takes so much weight off, and it really can help you lift enough weight off that you find some clarity, right? Whether it be this other person helping you and encouraging you, or you're just lifting, you're clearing your mind because you're bringing it to somebody else to help you lift it. And that lifts it a whole lot easier and gives you some space to really listen for God more. And then the other side of that, absolutely, you are never alone. And bringing your prayers to somebody else has such power. Oh, you used the emote. Oh man, tell me what you think of my little emotes. I don't know. I wanted something up, and like that's our little icon, right? That's our little icon. That's our little coffee cup. Tell me what you think of the little emotes and stuff as you unlock them or whatever. I'm still not entirely sure how that works. But I'll probably be making some new some new ones eventually. Yes, absolutely. You're never alone. You are never, ever alone. And you always have God. You always have Christ. But sometimes it's hard to feel that, right? And bringing your prayers to a trusted friend or community or group of friends, whatever the case may be for you, or your family, of course, that definitely helps that lonely feeling. You're not carrying it alone. You have friends that are helping you to carry that and that are lifting it up with you. You're never alone. And Alex, girl, you know, I'm always here. So thank you. Thank you for having the courage to step up and share your prayer requests with me. I appreciate that. And also know that, you know what? You never have to share the entire prayer. Like if you have, like if it's like a really private or really tough situation or whatever, you're not necessarily comfortable quite yet with sharing the whole thing, or you don't feel like you need to share the whole thing, by all means, silent prayers are totally fine. Like unspoken prayers, totally fine. Say, hey, I have an unspoken prayer I would like for you to please lift up for me. I'm game, dude, because God knows what your prayer is. I don't need to know what your prayer is to be able to lift it up, right? I don't need to know exactly what it is. Okay, so whatever capacity you feel comfortable sharing is absolutely perfect, okay? 100%. Okay. So our topic is rest. So relevant right now. I feel like it's been such a it's been a crazy week so far. We're on Thursday. It's been a crazy week. I am totally getting my steps in right now. Man, anybody else feeling like it's just like a super crazy week this week? So this topic of rest is like super duper relevant. Super duper relevant. We are going to jump into a couple places here. Let's see. We're actually going to start in Genesis. So we referenced, if you were in the Bible study yesterday, we referenced this particular portion of scripture in our Bible study. It wasn't in the post, but it was in the conversation a bit, and it was referenced in the post. But this is so important. This particular part of scripture is just so incredibly important. And I think that it's really something that we need to remember a lot more often than we do. Okay. Oh, excuse me. So, in Genesis, we're going to do... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, the hiccups are attacking. So we are going to jump in Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to hop to verse 2 and verse 3 in particular. I'm going to actually read verse 1 though, but verse 2 and 3 are what I really want to focus on. It says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their vast array." So God finished creating the heavens and the earth, okay? "By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done." God took a day off. God rested. Okay? That is so important for us to recognize. So important. Okay? And actually, I'm going to do Genesis 2, 3. Let's see if it'll... There we go. I need to change the translation. Chapter, verse, bot. Oh, man. Okay, well, I'll have to do that later. I was hoping that I could just, like, find it easily and change the translation. That's okay. So, God took a day off, okay? And I think that that's so important, because how often do we find ourselves not wanting... I mean, we want to take a day off, right? But then I feel like... I hear so often, and I've totally been guilty of it, there's too much to do. Like, I can't take a day off. I would get in trouble if I took a day off. There's too much work to do. I've got too much going on. Da 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 da. And you just are spinning, never stop spinning, and you don't let yourself slow down. Even God took a day off. Even God rested. And if you need some time If God is telling you you need to take some time to rest, then you need to take some time to rest. Even God rested. God is, He is the creator of everything. He is God, right? And even He took a day off. And throughout Scripture, we see all kinds of ways that Christ rested, right? He encouraged rest all the time. And there's a time for work and there's a time for rest. And we need to remember that rest is so incredibly important. Even God took a day off. So if you're feeling like you really need to take a day off, or you're feeling that pressure on your heart, you need to take a day off, whatever work you've been doing, whether it's a job, whether it's, sometimes I need to take a day off from running the community, right? Like, it's a lot of work, even though it's not a job work, right? Whether it be, you've got laundry piled up sky high and you just feel like you're drowning in it all the time, and you're just always doing laundry, you're always doing dishes, you're always cleaning, take a day off. Like, take a day off, okay? Sometimes I need to do that. Like, that's my second part of my job. This and, the community and taking care of my home and my family. And sometimes, obviously, I'm not going to take a day off from taking care of my family, but, the chores can wait, right? The chores can wait. The housework can wait. If you need to rest, rest. Like, that is important. That is so incredibly important. The work will be there when you come back. Like, don't just overdo the the rest, overextend your rest, but don't overextend the work either. You need to rest so that you can recuperate. Even God rested. Even God took a day off, okay? Let's see. And then the other point, I feel like we're going to be in Psalms a lot. Like, we've been in Psalms a lot this week. And this is actually our verse of the day. And it kind of... I don't know, maybe we'll read this whole psalm. Okay, let's see. So the verse in particular. I love verses that call for us to be still. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think it's something that we just need to hear all the time. So this is Psalm 37. We're going to hop over to Psalm 37. This is actually our verse of the day. Let's see. Let's test out our new command here. Yeah, look at that. Oh, look at that. The chapter verse gave us a verse of the day too. That's funny. We'll read that in a second. Oh, that's cool. It pulls it from Bible Gateway. I'm still pretty new to the chapter verse bot. It was implemented by Yoshi, which is awesome. So, our verse of the day is Psalms 37, verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Okay, this has so much happening in this verse, okay? My goodness, this commercial on Spotify is like really loud. Can you guys even hear the music? Let me know how the volume is. Okay. Okay. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Patience is something that it's something that I definitely have been getting better at over time, but it's something I think everybody struggles with to a degree, right? Patience is tough. It is really hard to have patience. And I have gotten a lot better at recognizing when I lack patience and just stopping for a moment, right? And I think that's really important. Be still. That's exactly what he's telling you to do. Basically, when you're... Oh my goodness. Hiccups are crazy this morning. I don't even know what's going on. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Okay, so here's what that says to me, okay? Here's what this really, really screams at me is when you're impatient with something around you, what you're really impatient about is you're impatient with God, because God is working in all of us and he's working in every situation. And if a situation is not going at the pace or the rhythm that you want it to go, well, you know what? That's the pace that God set. for that person, for the circumstances, for the situation, whatever the case may be. God sets that pace. And when you are impatient with something around you, you are impatient with God. And I just challenge you to kind of let that sink in. I just challenge you to, next time you are feeling a surge of impatience, recognize, okay, let's take a step back and let's just be still for a moment. Give yourself some space and some stillness and some rest to just acknowledge that God is in control of the situation and that God is moving the situation at his pace, at his rhythm, at his beat, right? And when we are feeling impatient, we are really impatient with God. Okay? We're not impatient at our family. We're not impatient at our work. We're not impatient at, whatever, at the driver in front of us. Like, we are impatient with God, because this world, this whole world, God is in control of all of it. He is working in every aspect of our world, of our lives, and we need to trust his pace. And when we find ourselves impatient, just be still. Just be still. And just let that impatience pass. And just be patient with God, okay? Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Wait for God to do what he's going to do in that situation, okay? Second part of this is, do not fret when people succeed in their ways. Okay, so this can mean a couple of things, okay? This particular part, okay? It continues on, but this particular part, when people are succeeding in whether it seems like a good or a bad thing, whether it seems evil or holy or righteous or good, whatever the case may be, don't worry about it. That's not up to you. I feel like I find myself impatient about what other people are doing all the time, right? It's so easy. You read the news, you read, gosh, I can't even, there's so many times that I totally hear what's going on, whether it's politics, whether it's, just all the crazy stuff that's going on. We've got lots of protests going on. We've got election year happening, right? Like, there's just so much happening. We've got this virus that is like totally causing everybody to lose their minds. Like, the list could go on and on. We've got so many things that you can totally freak out about. You can totally get impatient about. And people are doing some crazy things, and there's a lot of tension, and there's a lot of conflict, and there's a lot of differences being spouted out and pointed out, and man, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But when people are out there doing what they're doing, don't worry about what they're doing. Don't get impatient with them. It's not even worth getting angry necessarily about all these conflicts, about all this anger that is being fed into our world, right? Don't fret. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when people go out and do what they do. When they carry out their wicked schemes, that's the second part of that. Don't fret when they carry out their ways. Don't worry when somebody goes out and does something terrible. Do not fret. God is in control, and we need to wait patiently for him. Wrap back around to the top of that. Let's read this backwards. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him, because these circumstances, these situations are in God's hands. And we just need to be patient with him as he works through it, as he goes at his pace, his rhythm, as he calls on each person to do their part, right? That he is calling on them to do, right? And we just need to wait patiently for God to do his work and to call when he's ready to call, right? And in the ways that he's ready to, that he knows is best to call, right? So read this backwards. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Don't worry when people go do messed up things. That seems really tough, right? Like, of course I want to worry about it. Of course I want to be upset about it when people go do crazy things, harmful things. But be still before the Lord. Wait patiently for him. Wait patiently for God to do his work. And rest. Take a moment to rest. Be still in the presence of God. In this other translation, this is the NKJV, it says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his ways, because of the man who brings wicked schemes to pass. Don't worry about these people that are doing messed up things. Focus on you and focus on God, right? Focus on God above all else and rest in him and wait for him to do what he is going to do. I want to read a little bit further. I'm just feeling a pull here, okay? We're going to go back up to the top and we're going to go down a little ways here. And I just really want to read through this particular chapter a bit more, okay? So we're in Psalms chapter 37. And I'm going to hop right back up. We're going to rewind, go up to the top, go up to verse 1, okay? Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. Don't worry about the people that do messed up things. And certainly don't envy the people that do messed up things, right? For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. They ain't going to be here forever. It's not going to be like this forever. The chaos that we're feeling right now is not going to be like this forever. One of the things that we say a lot, we keep coming back to in all of our studies, I swear, every single study that we do, I feel like we go back to the same quote. God's already solved all the problems. We just have to catch up to him. God has already solved all the problems. We just have to catch up to him. Okay? Like the grass, they will soon wither. These evil people, these people that are doing evil things, they won't be here forever. They will not be doing these things forever. And you won't be here forever either. You won't be in this state of the state of chaos. We will not be in the state of chaos forever. Okay? Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Trust in the Lord and do good. Do God's good work. Live as Christ. Exemplify Christ in this chaos. Don't feed into the evil. Don't let this evil that's happening all around us, don't let that take hold of you and spiral you down the complaint train and spiral you down the fretting. Right? Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not going to help you. Just trust God. Trust in the Lord and do good. Do his good work. Do what he calls you to do. Okay? And just be patient with him. Be patient with him. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Dwell with God. Stay where God is, right? Stay where God calls you to stay and enjoy safe pasture. Enjoy the safety and the peace and the rest found when we walk with God, right? Take delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Trust God and be patient with God and delight in the fact that he's in control. Be glad that he is in control and he has got it all figured out. And he will bless you. Okay? Commit your ways to the Lord. Do what God calls you to do. Commit your ways to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Commit yourself to God, and he will fill you up with his light, and you will shine so bright. So bright. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil. So again, do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Otherwise, you're going to fall into the trap. You're going to fall into the trap. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. God already has a plan for what to do with the wickedness in our world. What on earth do we have, literally, what on earth do we have to worry about when God's already got a plan to handle all of it? We may not like his timing, we may not understand his timing, but he's got his plan. And we just need to trust that. A little while and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found, but the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. So those who are not participating in the wickedness, those who are hopeful in the Lord, who trust God, will enjoy peace and prosperity. May not see it in this life, but we will see it when we inherit our place in heaven. The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their the wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them, but the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. I feel like a very common thing with Christians is you will always find people that are going to not be nice because of your faith, because you choose to not participate in the chaos, because God is with you. I mean, there's so much evil in this world, and it will mock you. It will try to tear you down. And just know, God is looking at that laughing. Like, you think that that's going to tear my kingdom down? You think that that's going to stop what I've got going here? No, your day is coming. So you can laugh now, but I will have the last laugh because you are going to be brought down. Right? Evil will be brought down. The wicked draw the sword and bend the bow to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose ways are upright. But their sword will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken. Better the little that the righteous have than the wealth of many wicked. For the power of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The blameless spend their days under the Lord's care, and their inheritance will endure forever. In times of disaster, they will not wither. In days of famine, they will enjoy plenty. And remember, that is, the Lord will determine the plenty, right? We have these ideas of what we need, but God will determine what we really need, and he will provide it. He will provide what we need. But the wicked will perish, though the Lord's enemies are like the flowers of the field. They will be consumed, they will go up in smoke. The wicked borrow and do not repay, but the righteous give generously. Those the Lord blesses will inherit the land, but those he curses will be destroyed. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Though he may stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him. The Lord upholds him with his hand. I just want to highlight that one. I love that verse right there, or verses. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. The Lord will guide you, and your path will be set if you are faithful to him, if you trust him. You give yourself to him. You live to serve the Lord. He will make your path set. He will set it up. He will make it firm for you. Okay? Trust God, and he will reveal and make firm your path. I was young, and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsake or their children begging bread. They are always generous and lend freely. Their children will be a blessing. Turn from evil and do good, then you will dwell in the land forever. There's always time to turn to God until there's not. Which we never know when that day will come, right? But for now, there's time. There's time for you to come to God. If you are having a hard time, or if you know somebody that's having a hard time, there's still time for them to come to God. If you struggle with trusting God, there's still time for you to really give yourself to God in service and trust and just be obedient to him. And man, you will be so blessed. There's always time. There's always time until there's not. You never know when that time is going to be, okay? But it's never too late. There's never too much that you've done. You've never made so many mistakes that God will not welcome you with open arms into his family. It's not going to happen, okay? You can always turn to him, and that's what he wants. That's what he's waiting for, is for you to come to him. Because trust me, he's coming after you. He's coming after you. He's chasing after you, but he needs you to turn around and actually come to him and stop running away. For the Lord loves the just and will not forsake his faithful ones. Wrongdoers will be completely destroyed. The offspring of the wicked will perish. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it forever. The mouths of the righteous utter wisdom, and their tongues speak what is just. The law of their God is in their hearts. Their feet do not slip. There was a point in time where I thought God and I were done. I couldn't see a way back, yet somehow there is this growing relationship between me and him. I am thankful for it. Girl, I have watched that, and it has been amazing to be able to watch that blossom in you. Like, I feel like you were when we first met, and this is like, I share this because I feel like it's just so encouraging for others to be able to just hear about it and have an inkling of what I've been able to see happen with you. And I hope that it's okay that I'm sharing this, but you know, when we first met, like, you wanted nothing to do with God. You wanted to help me with this community, with this idea that I had, right? This idea that God planted in my brain. I don't know that you necessarily believed that it was yeah, absolutely, for sure. I wouldn't overshare. At least I hope I wouldn't accidentally overshare. But, you know, let God lead that. You know, when we first, you started this community with me, and this whole endeavor, and I know that you were not at a place where you didn't really have faith yet. You knew about religion. You had broken experiences with religion, right? With broken church. I think we've established that. Yes, I think I know that if I mess up, you'll forgive me. You were definitely not at a good place with God, and I don't think you wanted to be at any place with God, but we had started to build a friendship by that point that you wanted to be a part of what I was building because I was so passionate about it. And I don't say this as like a touting myself or, you know, whatever, but not in any way, shape, or form, but God used the building of this ministry that we now have and are continuing to grow and everything, to really speak to you and encourage you, and seeds were planted, and I saw those seeds plant, and I saw their roots kind of start to grow. And every once in a while it felt like one would kind of rip out and you know, throw it away, but you know what? That seed was still there. And the roots were still planted. You just kind of broke off the top a little bit, right? But a new plant grew. A new sapling grew, and each time it grew back stronger. And you know what? You've had ups and downs, and we all will have ups and downs. But seeing you get to a point where even when tough stuff is happening in your life. And even though we have had tough conversations, that I was really worried and I prayed so much over that, God, I don't know what is going on here. I don't know how you're going to use this, but please don't let her run away from you right now. And you know what? You keep coming back. And I've seen your faith go from nothing to just this beautiful blossom. And it is just incredible to see. And there is so much, like, I am so encouraged by just seeing this in you. And I share this because people need to hear that. People need to hear that this is a real thing. That, one, we can make a difference for somebody else when we let God lead us in our relationships, right? We need to let God lead us in our relationships, and we need to trust God with our relationships. Trust God with those we are in relationship with, right? Whatever that relationship is, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a gaming buddy, whether it's, a really close personal IRL friend, whether it's family, whatever the case may be, whether it's somebody you just met, right? Trust God with your relationships and let him use you to grow those relationships and grow you and grow the other person in that relationship. It's so powerful. And you know what? It's just so encouraging to see God work in somebody. That's the other thing. It's just seeing God work in somebody is just so encouraging. And it just, that God is there, and that God is hard at work. And it's just incredible to see. I love it so much. So much. It's great. Oh, it's great. So, whew, goodness gracious. Forgive my yawning. Let's see. So we were reading Psalm 37. I'm so glad that we got sidetracked. A lot of it is me continually fighting for the God I had come to know, and part of it was having you there to guide me through quite a few of the tough times. By the time I came across a major challenge, I was solid in my belief, and to imagine it all started with me just believing in you and your passion. Oh, you're gonna make me cry, okay? Just, girl. I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that God brought you into my life and brought you into this mission. No matter what capacity you are here for a reason. And I think that we have had so much ups and downs because you... Maybe you're going for a running tally. Hey now. Goodness. No, I'm so grateful for what God has done in your life and in you, right? Not just in your life, but recognize what he's doing literally in you. I've just seen such a transformation happen. It's indescribable. It's just been amazing to see that and to be a part of it. I'm grateful that you feel like I've been a part of that, but you know what? All glory be to God, because it is all because of God, it is all thanks to God, and it is all for God. Okay? I know my streams do bring out the feels. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Okay. Let's see. Where do we leave off? We'll pick up right here. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, intent on putting them to death, but the Lord will not leave them in the power of the wicked, or let them be condemned when brought to trial. Hope in the Lord. And remember, that trial is not like an earthly trial. Like, there's lots of people that get condemned to prison, to death, whatever, because of their faith, right? Like, we see even Paul was in prison for a ridiculously long time, right? Because of his faith. And that stuff's still happening around the world. People are dying because of their faith. So it's not an earthly trial. I want to recognize that. It's not an earthly trial. it's that trial of when you are face to face with God. God will recognize that you were righteous. God will recognize that you worked hard to do the right thing, right? He will know where your heart is. So, I don't know, something's just telling me to say this, to address this point, okay? If you're at a point where you don't know what to do, okay, and you are worried about making a mistake, doing the wrong thing, right? I just want to address the fact that if your heart is in the right place about it, and your heart is really chasing after God, chasing after God's plan, trying to be on pace with God and do what God calls you to do. If that's where your heart is, even if you make a mistake, trust me, God's going to know that your heart was in the right place, even if you made even if you made a mistake. So no matter, what the outcome of a situation is, if your heart is in it for God, he will know that and he will recognize that. So really, hey, thanks for the work lurk, Yoshi. Whoop whoop. So really, just be encouraged by God and let God guide you. And if you aren't sure, and maybe he's just telling you, what, just put a little, how do I say this? Trust God enough to guide your heart when you don't know what he's telling you to do, right? Sometimes I feel like as our faith grows, and I've experienced this, as my faith grew, when my faith was tiny like a mustard seed, right? I had a lot harder time listening to hearing what God was trying to tell me to do. And I made a lot of mistakes. And I did a lot of stuff that I was like, oh my gosh, like that was totally not the right way to do it. But like I was trying to do the right thing, right? And I could fall back on, I know that I was trying to do the right thing and I messed up. I did mess up, but I was trying to do the right thing. And I was encouraged by that. And I just felt that peace of like, it's okay. It's okay to mess up sometimes. But your focus needs to be on doing what God wants you to do. And if your focus is on doing what God wants you to do, just be encouraged by that, even if you stumble, right? Like that's just so important. It's so important. Where am I at on my steps? Oh, I'm almost there. So if your heart is in the right place, that is the main focus. Don't worry so much about, oh my gosh, what if I make a mistake, right? Have your heart focused on doing what God would do, doing what God calls you to do, what would Jesus do, right? And you will stumble and you will fall. But as you have trial and error, and as you just continue to strive for what God wants you to do, you will begin to hear him clearer, and you will begin to learn more about how God calls you to live and make decisions, and how God is leading you. You will feel that, and you will experience that deeper, and you will hear it clearer, right? So one of the things we talked about, I think earlier this week was, or maybe it was last week, was that as you learn more about Christ, you learn more about how you're called to live. So, when you first come into faith, you don't know everything. You don't know everything, and that is okay. You learn as you go. And if you are striving to get to know Christ better over time, you will learn new things, and you will learn more about how you're called to live and how you're called to make decisions. And you will hear God clearer in those times of making decisions. So don't fret over, not knowing what to do. Just focus on, God, my heart is in this for you. Please guide me, and please help me to make the decision you want me to make right now. And just have that heart, and whatever comes after, just trust God to continue to guide you and grow you. Okay? Let's see. I feel like I keep losing my place like 50 times. Hope in the Lord and keep his way. He will exalt you to inherit the land. When the wicked are destroyed, you will see it. I have seen a wicked and ruthless man flourishing like a luxuriant native tree, but he soon passed away and was no more. Though I looked for him, he could not be found. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. A future awaits those who seek peace, but all sinners will be destroyed. There will be no future for the wicked. The salvation of the righteous comes from the Lord. He is their stronghold in times of trouble. Woo, that's a highlight right there. The Lord helps them and delivers them. He delivers them from the wicked and saves them because they take refuge in Him. When you trust God with your safety, with your life, with your provisions, when you trust God and you take refuge in Him, He will help you. He will deliver you. He will save you. You gotta trust Him. You gotta trust Him. Ugh. Keeps like freaking out. My browser is like, it hates me. Doesn't want to highlight. Oh well. So, man. I got my 1,000 steps. Okay, let's update. I'm in 60. Alright. We're gonna update. Dun 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 dun. Alright, so tell me what comes to mind with our verses today. Okay? What comes to mind? Oh, goodness. We are going to hop into some Minecraft here very shortly. FYI. There we go. All right. So updating my steps. If you are unfamiliar, I have a QB stepper, and I try to get in 1,000 steps an hour while I'm streaming to stay active. I will admit I am super unmotivated to do my stretches and stuff and my little workouts, but we are going to do a little bit of that here in a moment, since we're kind of at a pause in our study. So we're gonna pause. We're gonna take a little break here in just a second. We'll do a couple little small light workouts. I'm thinking today we've been going pretty hard this week on the workout, so I would like to do something just a little lighter, maybe some stretching, just some nice stretching today. Sparky, if you are still hanging out, keeping in mind, girl, I feel you on the pain, dude. I mowed the lawn yesterday and weed whacked and all that kind of stuff, and my back has been killing me. So, something pretty light today. Keeping in mind aches and pains in the hip region. I think even just some nice knee raises and just kind of hugging those knees in. I think even that might be kind of nice. I've been really struggling with a moral dilemma where either choice I make could be seen in a bad or good way. The verse of the day brings a sense that I need to just keep doing what I've been doing, which ultimately focuses on the majority, and let the few that have been hindering not only my progress but the people around me to their own devices. So, I have a thought on that. Let me look up. There's a verse that just really came to mind, and I'm trying to remember what the verse is. Let me find it. How's the music level? Okay, cool. I turned it up a little louder than it's been because I feel like it wasn't being heard. Let's see. Okay, I think this is where I was looking for. Let's see. Okay, so I want to just address what came to mind when you say that, and I appreciate you sharing that. I know that vagueness is necessary sometimes, and that is completely fine. But I still, with that little bit, I feel like I just had something that really spoke out at me, and I'm just trying to remember where it is. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know why. Like, this is just one of those weird times where I'm like, this is what came to mind, but like, I don't know. I don't know why, but maybe it'll speak to you. So if it sounds a little weird, um, just maybe spend some time with it later or right now, whatever. And let's talk about it. Let's dive into that, or you can dive into that on your own. But this is what kind of spoke at me. It's really weird. It's really random. Part of scripture, but this is what I got, okay? This is in Acts 19. I pulled it up on my phone because I wasn't sure where it was. I was trying to research. Okay, actually here, let's do this too. We're going to go Acts 19, okay? Again, this is, I don't know. And then it was 32. Oh, okay. Actually, 31, sorry. Even some of the officials of the province, friends of Paul, sent him a message begging him not to venture into the theater. The assembly was in confusion. Some were shouting one thing, some another. Most of the people did not even know why they were there. The Jews in the crowd pushed Alexander to the front and they shouted instructions to him. He motioned for silence in order to make a in order to make a defense before the people. But when they realized he was a Jew, they all shouted in unison for about 2 hours, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." The city clerk quieted the crowd and said, "Fellow Ephesians, doesn't all the world know that the city of Ephesus is the guardian of the temple of the great Artemis and of her image, which fell from heaven? Therefore, since these facts are undeniable, you ought to calm down and not do anything rash. You have brought these men here, though they have neither robbed temples nor blasphemed our goddess. If then Demetrius and his fellow craftsmen have a grievance against anybody, the courts are open, and there are proconsuls. I don't know. They can press charges. If there is anything further you want to bring up, it must be settled in a legal assembly. As it is, we are in danger of being charged with rioting because of what happened today. In that case, we would not be able to account for this commotion since there is no reason for it." After he had said this, he dismissed the assembly. Super random story. That was, I'm going to put here what that was so you can reference it at any time and maybe just spend some time with it and see if maybe something speaks to you in that. So that is, oh man, sorry. Acts 19, 31 through 41. So the bot is probably going to try to post it, and it is long. There you go. Oh, Oh yeah, see, it didn't post the entire thing, but you get the gist there. Okay, so just maybe that'll speak to you. I don't know. You know, it's tough sometimes when you have conflict. You want to help in all areas, but we are not called to help in everything, right? We're not called to handle every situation. Our place is where God sets us, and sometimes it's hard to see which direction he wants us to go, which area he wants us to take care of, which areas he wants us to help. You know, but I'll say sometimes we feel it in our gut, and maybe we still don't want to believe it because we still have that sense of, I want control of all of it. I just want to help with all of it. So I don't want to just pick a side, right? I don't want to pick A, B, or C. I don't want to pick where I'm going. I want to just do it all, but we can't do it all the time, okay? It actually coincides with several things I've been dealing or struggling with. Does it? That particular passage, is that what you mean? That passage kind of speaks to you a bit? It's hard. It is hard sometimes. But you know what? Be encouraged that good. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that so crazy how God just works? You know, man, like this passage just, it seems totally random to me, and I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't know how this could be relevant. But you know what? You know, what may speak to somebody at one point you know, may not say anything at the same time to somebody else, and the reverse is true as well. Or what may, you know, speak a certain way to you may speak totally differently to me, right? So you know, that's another reason why fellowship is so important, why having relationships with other believers is so important, because then you can have, you know, fellowship with people and bring something to somebody. And like I said, I don't even need to know the details, right? I don't need to know the details, but bringing it to somebody to help you pray over it, to help you navigate it in any capacity, God will work through both of you. Where two or more are there in his name, God is also there, right? So when you bring that to somebody else, it gives power, multiple minds, multiple skill sets, multiple ways of thinking to pull out answers, to pull out, you know, his word, to pull out whatever it is that he's trying to speak. It gives multiple vessels to do that. Oh no, you're good. You're good. I mean, you're more than welcome to, but for real, like it's totally fine. Like I said, I don't need to know the details. If you want me to know, like that's totally cool, but I don't need to know the details. And that's true with anybody that's listening right now. Like if you are struggling with something that you've just been carrying around by yourself, I encourage you to even just share with somebody that you're carrying a burden, right? You don't have to say what the burden is. You don't have to give any details. Just, I'm struggling with something. I have an unspoken prayer, and I would love some encouragement right now. You know, and whatever details you want to give or don't want to give, like that's up to you, and that's up to you. That's up to you, between you and God. God knows all the details, and that's what matters. And even in this situation where I have no clue what the heck you're talking about, God provided you some scripture by sharing it. Yeah, no worries, dude. You're good. You're totally fine.